What happened to the hand?
What happened to my hand? You... Nothing. I mean, it wasn't even really my fault. You know what I mean? I ended up busting the fuck out of my toaster. I was kicking around my apartment. My neighbors started complaining. So now, now I gotta go to Walmart and get a new fucking toaster.
Battletoads. I probably don't even have to say anything else. You already know which section I'm going to be talking about today. It has terrorized players for more than 20 years, and to this day still finds new victims to toy with. Just ask Felicia Day.
Jump! Jump!
I jumped! Oh my god, I want to die right now.
Today, we're going to tackle the Turbo Tunnel. We'll look at how it fits into the game, why it's so tough, and how to beat it. It's time to face your demons. Battletoads was developed by Rare and released for the NES in 1991. It was ported to several other formats over the next couple of years, including the Amiga and the Mega Drive. The game was supposedly released as a rival to the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles games of the era, ironic, given the similar surprising difficulty of the first Turtles game for the NES. The point is that a lot of people had access to this title, and it was one of the most popular beat-em-ups of the era. The game was notoriously difficult, with the later levels in the game being spoken of like myths by the select few who saw them. The majority of players saw their progress brought to a screaming halt by the third level, the Turbo Tunnel. The start of the level is reasonably straightforward. The player is presented with a standard side-scrolling beat-em-up, similar in gameplay style to the first level. Sure, there are more bottomless pits, and the aesthetic is a little unnerving, but it's not so bad. About halfway through the level, though, the player comes across a hoverbike in front of a checkpoint. It certainly looks fairly innocent and unassuming, but don't be fooled. From this point on, the rest of the game is a one-way trip to hell. The first issue is that this particular style of gameplay mechanic is entirely new to the player. The controls suddenly shift, as does the immediate goal. The player doesn't need to attack anything, but instead has to quickly dodge a long series of obstacles. The toads suddenly go from being crisp and easy to control to being floaty and awkward. Obstacles start approaching quickly, but soon become blindingly fast, allowing the player little chance to react. The entire section is a one-hit kill, with only a couple of checkpoints, sending a toad immediately back after colliding with an object. God help you if you're trying to do this in two-player mode, as the death of one toad sends both players back. Finally, if you've got to use a continue, you're sent right back to the start of the whole level, and have to battle your way all the way back to the hoverbikes. Don't get down on yourself though. This section is a killer, and no one beats it the first time. There are a couple of tricks to it. The first is that it's not enough just to have good reactions. You have to memorize the pattern of the obstacles, and start moving your toad in anticipation. This is particularly true near the end of the course, where the obstacles don't even flash before zooming towards you. The second tip is to leave yourself some room to maneuver from left to right. It helps a lot, particularly when you have to jump multiple times between small roadblocks. If you stick too closely to the back of the screen, you leave yourself no room for error. With a bit of space, you can adjust your position in mid-air and save yourself. Finally, don't get frustrated when you die, because you will die, over and over and over again. In fact, this is the most important tip for the game in general. You will die. It will be frustrating, and you will probably want to put your fist through the wall. This is why it's important to take your time going through the levels, particularly the early ones. You want to have as many lives as possible to burn through in the later stages, so take the opportunity to farm a bunch of extra lives when you have the chance. The second stage, where your toads bungee down a hole, is especially good for this. You may notice the warp points in the levels, including one on the course for the Turbo Tunnel. Whilst it's tempting to take them and skip some levels, many experienced players will purposely miss these warps in order to build their pool of extra lives in the early part of the game. Don't be put off by the crazy difficulty in Battletoads. It's a fantastic game. Games these days seem to assume the worst of the player, with most of them babying us to the point of almost having an I win button. There's a sense of achievement to beating every single level in Battletoads. Everything from the snake pit all the way up to the tower. But to get there, you've got to face your fears and go through the turbo tunnel. I know you can do it. As always, if you've enjoyed this video, please remember to like it, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and follow us on Twitter. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you for the next episode.